Two balls and a strike to count on Taylor. Reyes fires, swinging a drive, deep left field. It's his way back. Welcome on, Chris Taylor.
Hello, everybody. Welcome in. Trevor Lane here for DodgerBlue.com. We've got a trade to discuss. Joining me is Matthew Moreno. Matt, how are you doing? And this is a little bit of a surprise. Came from out of left field, if you will.
Yeah, a little bit. Obviously, we knew Beaty was going to be traded once the Dodgers DFA'd him. It was kind of just a matter of where he was going. And I'll admit, in thinking through the possible scenarios, what I just kept coming back to was he'll end up on a team where he's going to have more opportunities than what he got with the Dodgers. Never thought it would be in the NL West, much less the Padres. But here we are. I know the fan reaction has been interesting to say the least. But, it'll be good for Beaty. Like I said, he'll have more opportunities in San Diego, and obviously they'll be playing the Dodgers pretty frequently, and so it'll be interesting to see what comes of that.
So Matt Beaty winds up going to the Padres. Is this a scenario where, from a competitive perspective, should the Dodgers have maybe reconsidered or tried a different course of action once they figured out that the team was going to be the Padres? Or is it kind of once you're committed, this is the direction you're going, whatever team winds up getting him, that's just what you have to deal with?
Yeah, their hand was pretty much forced once it was the Padres who wanted to claim him off waivers. And, they probably wouldn't have drawn it up. This isn't what they preferred, I would imagine, because Beaty is somebody who's proven to be valuable off the bench as kind of a pinch hitter. But, so it goes.
We've heard a lot of talk about how amazing this Dodgers lineup is and how potentially historically great it could be. Is this a situation where Beaty he really wasn't going to have a role on this team? There's just not enough room for him. Is that what led the Dodgers to this decision?
Definitely. And, over the last year, Dave Roberts said, we don't really view Matt Beaty as a defender. We view him as a bat off the bench to, throw in the lineup as either a pinch hitter or maybe designated hitter against a right-handed pitcher. So now, this spring, the Dodgers signed Jake Lamb, who is putting together a pretty strong case to make the opening day roster. And he bats left-handed. He has a little more defensive versatility than Matt Beaty. They also still have Edwin Rios, who missed most of last year, basically because of his shoulder surgery. He's swinging the bat well as well. Pardon the repetitiveness there, but that's another left-handed hitter who then was going to squeeze Beaty out of a bench spot, and so it kind of just became a numbers game. And yeah, he was the odd man out.
Okay, and now, as far as a return here, typically you don't get much of a return in these types of situations, but what did the Dodgers wind up getting in this deal?
Yeah, so Ryan River, he was drafted last year by the Padres. He played I think it was 12 games down at the Arizona Complex League for them. He's a two-way player. It looks like the Dodgers may try him as a pitcher. He can also play the infield. But, we won't really know kind of how that pans out for at least another 4 or 5 years.
Right. So this is kind of a situation where they don't necessarily maybe it becomes something down the line, but this is more about moving Beaty off the roster, freeing up a little bit of room on the roster, and then opening up that space more than hey, we're getting something in return for the player.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, the initial roster move was required so that they could sign Hanser Alberto, that was a major league deal, and so he was going to clearly make the opening day roster. But like I said, in addition to Alberto, you have the factor of Edwin Rios performing well, Jake Lamb performing well, and so yeah, Beaty just was kind of squeezed off. And, the Dodgers did say they wanted to also kind of do right by him because he did have a minor league option remaining. They could have sent him to Oklahoma City and then done, maybe a little bit of other roster kind of mechanics to get the Alberto signing official. But they wanted to give him an opportunity to kind of move on with his career.
Now, that's something typically, most people know me for Lakers Nation and doing work there. That's something that often gets underlooked in terms of, the game behind the game, reading between the lines, that sort of thing, in terms of building those relationships with agents, building those relationships with players, getting that kind of reputation around the league, whether it's MLB or NBA, as being the kind of team that takes care of players. That's the kind of thing that can sometimes build equity that matters down the line when you do right by a player. And maybe it's not apparent in the initial deal, but a year from now, 2 years from now, maybe the Dodgers, because they've built up that positive reputation, they wind up landing somebody that they wouldn't have otherwise because they become known as a team that does take care of players. So I think that's something that can wind up mattering here. Maybe it doesn't, but I think it's something that it's worth mentioning in a deal like this that could potentially matter down the line.
Certainly. And it doesn't hurt, obviously. And, a lot of players, when they have signed with the Dodgers, have often said, I've heard a lot of great things about the organization. And so I'm excited to kind of now experience it firsthand. When players have moved on from the organization, they've raved about their time with the Dodgers. And so I think this is that, probably obviously on a smaller scale than, say, like Freddie Freeman signing with the Dodgers and saying, I've heard this, that, and the other about them. But yeah, it doesn't hurt. And you never know what, like you said, it could kind of lead to down the line.
All right. Well, Matt, we'll see where things go from here. Obviously, opening day is very quickly approaching. The Dodgers could be in store for a big season. We'll see. Still got to get out there on the field and play the games, but this should be a lot of fun, and I would highly encourage everybody to make sure you subscribe right here to the Dodger Blue YouTube channel. Don't forget to turn on those notifications as well. Till next time, everybody. See ya, and stay safe.